Welcome back to the European LCS, where Alliance is about to take on Fnatic. But here I am joined first by colorful player and coach of Fnatic, Álvaro Aranea Martin. Aranea, when I talked to you first in London, you said that you were first acting more as an analyst before you moved into the house. What has changed for you and the team now that you're actively living with them?
Well, now I'm actually talking way more with the team. I'm actually watching every single scrim. We are talking after every single game, what are the mistakes, what are the problems, or even trying to work on, even if they win, I try to always point on any kind of mistake to work on that to get closer to perfection.
Well, you also mentioned that you saw a lot of mistakes when you first started working with them. Obviously, they have been doing so well the last couple of weeks. How much of that do you attribute to your work with them, and what have been their biggest improvements?
I think even though people is saying that I help a lot of the team, I kind of help them, but I believe it's more the motivation. Right now, when Worlds is getting closer, players are getting closer, the motivation of the team is really high. I'm always trying to help on that, not only in-game stuff, also about the motivation and about how they approach every single scrim and every single game. But still, I think their mentality changed a lot in the moment that the players are coming, and especially when I joined the house, they kind of changed the mentality and they are working really hard to get in the base shape.
Well, you talk about mentality, and it's obviously crunch time right now, and especially in this matchup versus Alliance. How have you guys been approaching this game?
It's kind of hard to analyze against a game against Alliance, because they do always the same. I know how they think, but I don't know what exactly they are thinking right now, because they always do the same. They go to a week, they train on a scrims a certain comp, and then they always pull that. Last week, we saw how they play Gragas top lane, Privam jungle, Serath mid lane, and Corki in AD carry. And they probably play that on every single scrim, and that's what they're gonna play on the LCS. So it's kind of hard to keep track on them, because they also playing on another account, so we cannot really keep track on their picks. But still, I think we are in a good shape, and we did a really good preparation against them. So I hope my team is in a good shape for that.
Well, your team certainly seems relaxed here behind me. Thank you very much, Arne.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's time to get into that matchup. So let's meet our casters, Joe and Trevor.
Thank you very much, Shox. I'm Joe Miller, along with Quickshot, as we head into the clash for first place as Fnatic take on Alliance. Now, this is the fourth and final time that these teams will meet in the summer split. Alliance currently hold the head-to-head record 2-1 over Fnatic, but this game is especially important for Fnatic, as a win against Alliance will earn them an absolute heap of accolades. They will tie the wins and losses with Alliance for third, and tie the head-to-head, ensuring at least a tiebreaker for a potential first-place seed in playoffs. They will also equal their winning streak from spring of last year at 9 games and open the potential to break the EU LCS record.
Just a little bit of pressure.
2 records there.
Now, before Fnatic can actually secure that win, they need to ensure that they don't make the same mistakes that they have made against Alliance in the past. The most notable being that base race drama from week 4, where Fnatic actually had some control in the game, but they made a terrible choice to base race, and they gifted Alliance the victory. If we look at Fnatic and the way they play against Alliance a little closer, we can highlight the players that struggle to perform and those that do perform. So let's start with Soaz and Yellowstar. They both have their worst KDA against Alliance in comparison to their scores against every other team in the European LCS, meaning Soaz and Yellowstar struggle more against Alliance than the other 6 squads. The man that does shine for Fnatic is Reckless. He's got a 12 KDA against Alliance, 16 kills, 10 assists, and only 2 deaths. And Alliance should be focusing all of their efforts on Reckless if they want to walk away with a win and break Fnatic's losing streak.
Well, let's focus our attention here then to Alliance. They looked unstoppable at the beginning of the split, pulling away from the majority of the European teams until recent weeks, where they had their 8th game. 8 seems to be a magic number here in Europe, by the way. Their winning streak broken by Fnatic, funnily enough. Alliance will want to break Fnatic's winning streak and also ensure that that head-to-head lead is in their favor going into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, the importance of that first-place seed cannot be understated. If Alliance lose this match, Joe, it'll mean that 2-2 in the split and the potential for our lovely European tiebreakers for playoffs. I do want to contrast 1 or 2 players that perform well and struggle for Alliance when facing Fnatic, starting with Froggen, the positive. He really carries Alliance through their games. He's got 9, 2, and 15, which is his best KDA against any team in Europe. So Froggen is not under no pressure from either Peke or from Cyanide, and he's able to put up those strong stats. But on the other side of the coin is Nif. He really struggles when playing against Fnatic. This is his worst stats in the league. A moment ago, we talked about how well Reckless plays, and it's partially due to picking off Nif multiple times. So Nif really needs to step up. And just in closing, Wicked on Gragas is terrifying at the moment. Alliance seem to have ironed out those patch-related problems that they've had when they had that 4-game losing streak, and I'm extremely interested to see how they handle 4.12.
Well, there's a lot of respect between these two titans in the European LCS, but both sides believe they will pull out a win in today's battle.
Fnatic has only one playstyle, and that's pick comps.
I wouldn't say they are necessarily better than us, but I'm not 100% sure, and they are really good. And even if we are good, it's not really good for us to go equal late game, I think, as I believe that we have like stronger early game, so we should have used that fact since the late game might be a bit shaky.
All their roles are solid and they work well together. They're a really good team, and I respect them a lot.
The standings are still relatively close, so we have to take every game seriously, and especially against Alliance, since they're a good team, so if we are not well prepared, they can take us on easily.
We have to beat them, because if we lose to them and we end up in a tiebreaker with them, they will get the first spot since they beat us 3 times.
We don't want to end up tying with them for 2-2 score, so we're going to try our best to beat them.
We have to defend our first place against them, and I'm pretty sure we will do that.
Alliance had a bit of a slack lately, and we had a bit of a slack in the beginning. So maybe right now both of us are having a good time, so the game might be a lot better than you've seen before.
We just have to crush an enemy in a game and make a statement that we're back. We're no longer here to lose games.
Wow, very interesting to hear there from both sides. Some strong words even coming out from Shook at the end.
I think you can feel the tension and the excitement in this game. Reckless in particular really encompassed it. They each had a little bit of slack, a little bit of downtime at different parts in the split, but they're both arguably at their best shape at the moment.
Well, we'll see if Fnatic can continue that run of wins that they're on. But first of all, let's check out the starting lineup, starting on the blue side with Fnatic. They are Soaz in the top lane, Cyanide in the jungle, Xpeke in the mid lane, Reckless on AD carry, and Yellow Star on support.
And this crowd is definitely excited for this game. Alliance will be on the red side with Wicked in the top lane, Shook playing in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane with Tabs, who's going to play like a man, as well as Nif on the support role.
And in our featured matchup of the day, we wanted to highlight the junglers, starting with Cyanide, who's considered to be one of the most supportive junglers in the European LCS, against Shook, who, on the other hand, is considered to be the hard carry, aggressive jungler. But when we look a little bit deeper, it isn't exactly as clear-cut, especially when you see that Cyanide has more kills, less deaths, and more assists than his carry opponent, Shook.
Yeah, not only that, Cyanide also has a healthy GPM lead over Shook, and I was personally blown away by the fact that Cyanide was stronger in almost every statistical category. So we dug a little bit deeper, and when Alliance and Fnatic actually stand off, Cyanide appears to forego jungle control in favor of lane presence. So this is exemplified by the fact that Alliance have stolen the second highest number of buffs against Fnatic than any other team. And Fnatic have stolen the least amount of buffs against Alliance in comparison to every other opponent. So in English, what this means, Shook plays more aggressively in Fnatic's jungle than Cyanide does. And I'm interested to see which style will come out ahead. Remember, Shook played Riven last week, both games. Cyanide pulled out Maokai, so we may even see some new jungle champions from both of these players.
Well, before we get to those bans and picks, let's check in and see which of these top-tier teams you think will win. Not a surprise to me, 73% of the vote heading with Fnatic in this one. We'd also like to remind you that you can still get tickets to join us here in Cologne for our last Super Week of the season, and playoffs are also right round the corner. For tickets to the quarterfinals, just head to lolesports.com and click on tickets for all of the information. And if you want to join us for the finals at Gamescom, check their site out for the details on how to get tickets.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting few weeks, that is for sure. All culminating with the top 3 teams qualifying for 2014 Worlds.
It's all coming around very quickly.
a little far away.
Yeah, you say that, but if you look at a calendar, you'll realize there's not all that much time between now and when that all gets started, which means teams have got to do work starting here today. First place clash, what are we expecting from bans and picks?
So 4.12, once again, Lucian not available. We need to see where the AD carry focus is going to go. If Reckless gets his hands on Vayne again, the combination of Reckless plus Vayne is the highest KDA player to champion combo in the European LCS. It's only 48. So we need to see if he wants to do that.
It's not very good, is it? With Lucian being away, it's actually the most played champion of both AD carries in this game, but we've already seen that they can play a lot more. Currently, we're seeing quite a bit of focus on the junglers. Lee Sin and Evelyn both taken away. Xerath removed from Fnatic as well. They don't want Froggen getting his hands on that. and Twisted Fate. So 2 mid lane champions from Fnatic with the jungle ban as well. On the other side, there's that standard red side Kassadin, the Evelynn. What will Alliance finish off with here? Will they go towards another jungler? Will they be looking to first pick the one of the 3 top junglers, I guess we can say, remaining? Although we've already seen the likes of Riven for sure, he's not scared to
It has to be a consideration. Elise is Cyanide's most played jungler. And with it still available, the question is, what is first pick priority here for these teams? Gragas is up. Hell, we've seen a Maokai, and according to Xaxus, is one of the preferred picks. You've also got the likes of Fizz thrown in the mix. So it does look like the preferred top laner is where Fnatic are going.
And why not? We've seen time and time again that Soaz, when he's on form, when he's feeling good, feeling confident, he can carry Fnatic at the best of times. That now leaves Alliance with possibly taking away that Elise here for the jungle. And we have to wonder whether AD carries will come a little further up the picking order today with Lucian not available.
I completely agree with you. And I wonder, the biggest question for me is how comfortable and confident Shook is on a champion like Riven. Because if they allow the Elise to go through, and Alliance feel confident in their playstyle with those champions, with that Shook, with that Riven, for example, he could pick it into Fnatic. He could run that particular pick. But it is risky. It is a champion that I feel if you don't really get ahead and don't get your items, you are fairly easy to blow up in team fights. Without a good chunk of attack damage, that shield from Riven is not particularly effective. So at the end of the day, no jungler's locked in yet.
Well, just as you say that, an insta-lock job on the 4th for Cyanide. Other side though, it was of course Kog'Maw, the 2nd highest played champion, 4 tabs behind the Lucian, and also Orianna, a champion which you always have to factor into this matchup. Xpeke and Froggen have both set records with Orianna when it comes to farm, and that would have been surely a high priority. On the other side, as I mentioned, Jarvan for Cyanide. We'll see Thresh taken for Yellow Star again.
So Lulu is still available, and earlier this week when we were watching the OGN quarterfinals, Lulu was first picked in a large portion of those games. It is also a champion that we know has been run in the mid lane as well as top lane in recent weeks. The Jarvan being locked in conjunction with the Thresh and the Gragas means that Fnatic have got a ridiculous amount of zone control. They can put the box down, the Cataclysm, the explosive cast, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for Alliance to position and potentially team fight very effectively. What Fnatic are missing right now is damage. So they could go for something like a Fizz Vayne and use that zone control and peel to allow the carries and assassins to find kills, or they're going to have to find some damage elsewhere, because at the moment, I don't see how they're going to burn through Morgana, Orianna, and Riven shields all at the same time.
Well, we also do have to factor in that Morgana can protect one person from the CC, but there's going to be a lot of it in there for Fnatic's side. As you mentioned, Riven coming in 3rd game in a row for Shook. His first game, I think we can safely say, more successful than his 2nd one, although that was, of course, a win as well for Alliance. But if you look at his pure numbers, 7-0-3 the first time he played it, albeit against Gambit, the team that are struggling right now, 2-1-6 against the Super Hot Crew. So definitely in form with this Riven, and he'll be happy that, you know, while at this point we do have a lot of jungle bans coming out, that he's always got that Riven there to settle back onto. Funnily enough, when we talk about the top 3 junglers, at least not selected in this one. But let's move on, because Fnatic got a couple of seconds left. We're going to see Jinx picked up here for Reckless in the AD carry role, and Ziggs for the mid lane for Peke.
So not quite the hyper carry that I was anticipating in the Vayne, but pulling the Jinx that will fulfill the role that we were talking about. A lot of damage. You are also adding to the zone control once more. The Flame Chomp is going down. Combine that with the poke that you're going to get from the Zap, as well as the bombs from Ziggs. Fnatic can do a whole lot of things at different stages of the game. If they chain their CC together, there should be no way that Shook on Riven can hop, skip, and jump through everything that Fnatic can throw down and put in the field. So for Alliance, they are going to be very, very reliant on avoiding all of that CC and ideally having superior vision to come from the side lanes, because Fnatic can crowd control, they can pick, they can zone very effectively.
So final pick here then for Alliance is one which Wicked is definitely very familiar with. Irelia locked in for that top lane, and we'll see how Wicked does against Soaz on Gragas.
So this is going to be an interesting matchup, because Gragas is trending in the popularity because of his ability to deal with bruises in the top lane. I like the Irelia pick because it can deal with a lot of the CC Fnatic are putting down, based on her passive alone. That built-in, basically, tenacity based on champions around you. What it also means is that if Fnatic ever group up and Riven or Aurelia get stuck into them, the Orianna ball is just going to melt everybody. We've seen how strong Orianna have been in recent weeks, and I do feel the average Orianna level is higher than it was in the previous split.
Yeah.
But it's all about dealing with that crowd control. If Fnatic can use it effectively, there should, in theory, be no way for Alliance to get on them. But it's all about Fnatic landing and playing properly.
Well, now that those champions have been locked in, which jungler do you guys think will make the biggest impact? Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag FNC Cyanide or hashtag AllShook and let us know who you think will carry harder. Hard one to call for me. We've seen Cyanide that Jarvan seems to be a perfect fit to his style. If we remember back to his old Jarvan, the amount of dragons and barons that he was used to stealing there. We can also say the same for Shook. Aggressive, early game, invasive, heavy jungler. Riven fits him brilliantly. I
completely agree with you. And we need to see how impactful he can be on that back line. Jinx as a champion is fairly immobile. She has some escapes with the slow and the chompers, but if she gets caught by Aurelia or Riven in the early to mid game, it could be tickets for Reckless.
Well, let's find out. We're going to get into game. It's Alliance versus Fnatic here. A top of the table clash. We've told you many times already. It's 2-1 in the head-to-head in favor of Alliance. Fnatic not only can join Alliance tied at the top of the table, but put that head-to-head record at 2-2, meaning that if they're level come the end of the season, which is definitely not far away at this stage, then we could see a tiebreaker game to decide the position in between the two.
And that would be the first time that Fnatic are in first place all split long. So it's definitely bragging rights here for Fnatic if they can pull it off. Just before we start, there are boots on Yellow Star, and it looks like Soaz has come around. Shook, he might get shook up.
Oh, the body slam coming in. Can Shook get away from this one? Still has his flash, but he does flash. The hook came out from Yellow Star. Last second flash from Shook gets him away to safety. That was real close, though.
Yeah, but very important to note that the flash is down. So if Fnatic can actually play aggressive and try to punish Shook in the jungle, they can catch him out and make his life difficult. I want to see how confident Shook plays for the next few minutes. Not having the safety of Flash may deter him from counter-jungling in Fnatic's side of the map. But of course, if he's got the support of his teammates, you never know, he may still go for it.
I think one thing that's going for Alliance here, that they have a couple of wards down, so, well, I mean, they've not seen anyone leave that jungle area. We can see Wicked up there, but they also don't know that they've recalled away, so that might just put a couple of question marks in Shook's mind. Does he go for the enemy red? Can he trust himself on that front? We can see that Fnatic have anticipated that Shook's thinking, okay, they're up there to steal my red, I need to go get theirs. They're waiting with 3 men, and we'll actually start that red off now.
It may end up just being an even start with both teams in their own jungles, because nobody has made a move to actually pick a fight. So Fnatic have done what they usually do with Vayne. Whenever they run a Vayne in their games, they tend to go for the lane swap to get Reckless a safer laning phase and try to get him to farm up and get to a powerful point quickly. Something that Jinx can do more effectively than Vayne is in the siege situation, Jinx with her minigun and the attack speed bonus that you get from that will be able to obliterate towers. So if Ziggs and Gragas are zoning and putting poke down, Fnatic may be able to play a very quick tower push comp if they get themselves into that position. With the lane swap, you have to think it's a possibility.
Oh, Nif getting hooked in the stream, and there, that's a good flash over the wall from Nif, and I think that's enough to keep him safe, but the same might not be able to be said here for the red buff. So whilst it looked like Fnatic were backing away and we're going to go for a standard start, it actually seems that they're going to try and steal both reds right at the very get-go, but they need to be careful. Blue buff on Riven. Gragas is actually going to come up here, so Soaz giving them that extra power and presence that they need, and Cyanide will smite it away.
Yeah, so red buff stolen, advantage Fnatic. They forced 2 flashes from Alliance, and they've got control of the jungle. Yellow Star playing very aggressive. He's got the support of both Cyanide and Soaz, but they're a little while away. That's the 3rd flash of the game. Fnatic need to punish this. Fnatic have done a phenomenal job in the opening 3 minutes of applying pressure in every portion of the top half of the map here for Alliance. But it hasn't resulted in anything other than a red buff and some additional CS for Reckless. But it is at the cost of CS for Soaz. So we need to see if they can punish those flashes being down by getting more objectives or by picking up kills. But a very strong strategic start here from Fnatic.
See Shook coming in there to give them some backup as well. Need to be very careful, and Yellow Star showing once again. And I'm still not sure why teams aren't at least taking Thresh away from Yellow Star, if not banning it out. We've seen a lot of teams trending to banning Morgana against him, for example, in the past couple of weeks. Whereas his Thresh performances, every single time we've seen it, have been absolutely incredible. Continuing that trend here today, already forcing flashes left and right with his hooks.
So if memory serves, this should be Yellow Star's 11th game on Thresh, and he has 8 victories under his belt already. I still feel that he is the strongest Thresh player in the last 4 to 6 weeks. He is just phenomenal on the champion. On the same token though, Nif is undefeated on Morgana. 4 games played, 4 victories under his belt. And if he can use his Black Shield effectively on Shook or Wicked, that could be the way in for Alliance to get some control in those team fights. Look how cheeky Yellow Star is, even interrupting the back from Shook. Just presence of mind and control. And again, just a strong start from Fnatic. They've read Alliance well, and they've got themselves a Summoner spell lead, but not a gold lead. As you can see, Alliance are farming slightly more effectively.
Yeah, and let's have a look at that farm somewhat. Mainly, it's coming from the top laners here. Soaz against Wicked, 3 to 20. We see that Soaz did use his teleport to go into that bottom lane to try and claw some of that disadvantage back. The mid lane is pretty much even. AD carries Reckless, has a slight lead. Shook also getting off to a bit of a slower start in the jungle. And to be honest, Cyanide has just got rid of a lot of his camps here. We saw him take away that big wolf, and will be walking out there with us with an XP advantage as well, of course, as the buffs.
I love the fact that we highlighted Cyanide and Shook in our featured matchup of the day. And traditionally in this matchup, this split, Shook has been the one that has been controlling Cyanide's jungle. Shook has been stealing buffs, and Shook has been making Cyanide's life hell. Cyanide this time around has already stolen a buff from Alliance. He's got a CS lead, and it's thanks to having the support of the rest of his team. Every time they moved into Alliance's jungle, there were multiple members of Fnatic around, and they want to catch Froggen.
Oh, Yellow Star going to move in. Actually, will flash play there. No real follow-up to that one. The satchel charge will be down, but I don't think Froggen's in any real trouble there. Did have Riven coming across to give him a helping hand as well, but Yellow Star showing once again that he's not afraid to use those summoner spells to get involved and start things.
Well, we'll see if it can work out. Minion wave, unfortunately, wasn't timed correctly, so the death sentence couldn't follow up. And something that I know the North American casters love to point out, if you just look at the minimap and you look at your own minion wave on the minimap, it is mirrored by your opponents. So you can always determine if you actually want to flash in there and go for that flay death sentence. So unfortunately, it didn't work out for Yellow Star. So we need to see when this next red buff spawns in a couple of minutes' time, if Fnatic are on point to invade. Remember, 4.12 buff timers were actually included in the patch, so they have vision of it. And the way Fnatic have played thus far, roaming Yellow Star, and a lot of pressure on Shook, I wouldn't be surprised to see them try again.
Oh, landing the hooks left and right. The Black Shield came in fairly quickly there, though, to stop the Chompers actually doing maybe damage that we could say there. Obviously not do much damage themselves, but give Reckless a few free auto attacks. And Wicked actually will use his recall here. I'm assuming going to heal up, buy up, and use his teleport to get straight back on into that lane. And we can see that he's picked up a Phage here as his first item. And we'll see if he does TP in or whether he opts to actually just walk it straight over. And that might be an anticipation here of a dragon here soon with Shook on the bottom side of the map.
Potentially, it could also have been the fact that there was no more tower pressure from Reckless and Yellow Star, because they weren't really trying to focus the tower down. Wicked was not under pressure to use his teleport. But notice how Nif has been babysitting Wicked in the top lane. Because of the power of that Jinx Thresh combo and the fact that they can push the wave quickly and get on the tower very rapidly, I feel that Alliance are trying to defend their towers and extend this laning phase. Shook is still playing catch-up to Cyanide, and in terms of CS, all of the play from Fnatic has cost Soaz almost a 30 CS difference from Wicked. So while they got a lot of summoner spells, those flashes are almost all available with Wicked's coming off cooldown in a moment or two, and Fnatic have not been able to punish the summoner spells being blown, and they've actually come out 400 gold down. So while it was a positive play, net control, it hasn't really garnered Fnatic a lot more than the psychological damage on Shook.
Just want to point out the item difference there between these supports as well. We've already seen Yellow Star very willing to move around the map to get in towards that mid lane, try and set something up for Frog, and actually going Boots of Mobility as his first item, whereas on the other side, Nif actually picking up the side stone and a few more wards as well to be putting down. As it actually happens, it looks like we're going to be seeing the lanes normalize somewhat with Soaz and Wicked up on the top side. There's the ulti coming in. Wicked baited there underneath the tower. Don't know if there's enough damage to actually pick up a kill, but Soaz showing that he won't be bullied.
Very well played, and he actually forced Wicked to blow his flash instantly. Peke needs to get away himself. Shockwave was available from Frog, and it's not over yet.
It's not over, and Soaz once again is going to be bullied here. Ultimate used from Wicked. Well, get him a bit more HP back, running his pots as well, and that should be enough for him to have some free time in this lane. Soaz, though, does have teleport back available, so he should be able to just TP, as we see right now, straight back into that top lane and won't be missing out too much. However, he is still behind here, and it's a decent amount of farm, 30 CS.
It's going to be up to Cyanide and Yellow Star to move around the map and try help him out. There are very few players in the world that will know matchups of Irelia versus X better than Wicked, and he's going to take advantage of any time he can put damage or get control back. Joe, you talked about Dragon a moment or two ago, and once Alliance relocated their AD carry and support, it's now opened them up to a Dragon. Yellow Star's got Vision, Mega Inferno Bomb is available, so barring a steal from Ziggs, this should be Alliances.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Peke is even going to be trying for this one, and again, great tactical decision out of Alliance. He saw Soaz, forced a recall, was straight back in lane, no TP available. Wicked had hits should they really need it, and that for me was a fantastic move from Alliance, and that gives them a solid gold lead 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you consider how the game started. Alliance are looking strong. We talked about how Cyanide and Yellow Star need to help Soaz out. Look at both of them. Yeah, they're going on Wicked.
Yeah, they're going to dive onto this one. This could well be first blood. Cataclysm is going to come down. Damage is actually going to Soaz, but he will be able to walk on away from the tower damage. And first blood in the end goes over to Fnatic. And Yellow Star may even, with this next wave, be the turret as well.
Yeah, truthfully, there was always going to be a gank coming from Fnatic. Remember, well, that was close. There was Vision on the white camp. We did see the Super Mega Death Rocket flying past. Just to go back to the tower dive, Fnatic have also done low-level tower dives multiple games in a row. So when you see that Soaz is struggling and is so far behind, as well as seeing Moby Boots on Yellow Star, I think Alliance dropped the ball a little bit. There was no wards in the river, no wards in the tri-bush there, so Fnatic could move through the jungle easily. And the trade for Dragon cost first blood and a tower. Fnatic came out ahead.
Out ahead, and we think back to the Copenhagen Wolves game, I think is a prime example of that, where they just dove time and time again to get people ahead from that top lane. This time, of course, that kill went over to the support, which has now given him a couple of different items to be working in there, as well as his mobility boots. As we see Yellow Star once again just switching, not just between middle and bottom lane here, but not being afraid at all to go towards that top side of the map and really help out where it's needed.
So notice as well, because of all the pressure in Alliance's jungle, Shook has been a non-factor this game. He's been bullied, he's been picked on, he's had no ganks. He tried to defend the top lane tower and got caught by Yellow Star Death Sentence. Shook is effectively not yet in the combat of this matchup. So smart play from Fnatic. The question is now, do they start rotating around the map? Soaz is still a good chunk of CS behind Wicked. Reckless is farming his way up towards an Infinity Edge. And I still feel that in siege situations, if they can chunk Froggen away, the wave clear, ooh, that's very good. The wave clear is in favor of Fnatic in terms of sieging power. But I want to see how they want to play it, because there's been a lot of movement across the map, top to bottom, for the Fnatic squad.
Yellow Star showing once again that these max range hooks are not a problem for him whatsoever. We'll now be seeing that 2v2 getting back involved down on the bottom side. Meanwhile, Cyanide here doing the golems is actually in no man's land. We'll see if Wicked's got enough damage here to actually kill him off. There is a flash coming out, and Wicked allows him to just walk away. Flash was used, and there is the flag and drag over the top of the wall, and we'll be all fine from that one. Close from Wicked. Couldn't quite finish off the kill, though.
No, not this time round. The mobility on Jarvan is so incredibly powerful. And that was quite smart, actually, from Yellow Star. I think he was throwing at Nif. I don't actually think he was trying to catch Tabs in that scenario. But nevertheless, Tabs and Nif, even on CS, 6 or 7 difference between Reckless and Tabs, you got two very good late-game scaling AD carries. And with the tanky Jarvan, eventually, after Elder Lizard, and a tanky Soaz, Tabs may be able to deal with them if he can get protected from a Command Protect as well as Black Shield, etc. It's going to come down to positioning in these team fights. And the mobility on Alliance's squad needs to deal with the crowd control and zoning of Fnatic's squad in order to win. But it's been a great start to this matchup.
Let's have a look at the overall picture. 14 minutes in and Gold is bang even with the Dragon for Alliance. The turret, single turret of the game so far with Fnatic. Both sat on 19,000 gold here as Shook going in for his red buff. Wants to make sure that he keeps tabs on that one. If we look at the gold to be spent here across the map, it's the mid laners, unsurprisingly, that have had, I think, the quieter of the three lanes, to be honest, and spent a lot of time farming up, that are sat on about 12 to 1,300 gold each.
So there's two reasons to that. The lane swap immediately forces your mid lane into almost an island because your junglers tend to help out the disenfranchised lanes. In addition to that, you've got such good wave clear from both Ziggs and Orianna. They both win Athene's first. So it's very difficult to shove your opponent's lane in and then try to roam around the map. And we've seen how good Pekka and Froggen are at farming. 180 in favor of Froggen. Orianna definitely seems to be the strongest farming machine in the European LCS, breaking so many records in multiple weeks, actually, back to back.
Yeah, and both of these mid laners doing that as well. So from the those wonderful farmers graphics in the preview show, these two really been battling over those CS at 20-minute records as the turret does go down there in the bottom side. That's Alliance's first of the game, and that gives them that 1,000 gold lead.
So there's 50 seconds before Dragon comes back up. Look at the numbers from Fnatic in the top lane. Because of the fact that Wicked has got himself that Trinity Force, he can't really defend this tower, and that's what we talked about with Jinx. If she gets to a tower with a minigun, she can melt it. The thing is, with Trinity Force on both Wicked and Tabs, if a team fight were to occur in the next few minutes, there should be an item advantage in favor of Alliance. So as yet to complete a big item, we're still waiting for Reckless to finish his eye edge. And we did a lot of stats digging for this game. In the 3 previous games, both Fnatic and Alliance are tied in Dragon Control at 7 dragons apiece. Alliance took the first one this match, 10 seconds before the next one's up. Let's see if Fnatic are going to challenge. It'll be risky, because item strength is still with Alliance.
Well, Fnatic are moving with 4 men towards this middle lane. So as has walked back to the top of the map, it does have his teleport available. Fnatic are going to have to start moving on this one. That Dragon's down to less than half HP already. There is the bomb coming around, only catching Nif. Shook is on the Dragon himself. He manages to steal once again. May well be going down here. Put in the Cataclysm before he did go down. But Fnatic get the Dragon and back away, losing the 1 man.
So that's a very good...
Oh, there's no Froggen here. Box goes down as well. He will flash away, but can he get out? There's the Shockwave Super Mega Death Rocket from Reckless will actually get it. And again, Yellowstar coming up with the goods.
So they trade 1 for 1. Soaz doesn't have teleport. He's moving into the mid lane. Here comes Soaz from behind.
Soaz is going to throw the barrel. It's knocked them away though. We'll see if he can lock anyone down. He is on towards Wicked. Tabs as well will be flying off towards his turret. And I think that's all she wrote. There's another hook. This one though doesn't land.
Does not connect. Fnatic with a 500 gold lead. Dragons completely even. 1-1 in this game. 8-8 overall. Fnatic with the numbers advantage and health advantage in the mid lane are going to get some towers down, tower damage onto this mid turret, but the wave clear is pretty good. Wicked's gone in.
Oh, Wicked's caught out, I think he's going down here. It's Soaz that will get that one. There's Reckless, and we forget even the flag from Jarvan giving him even more attack speed when he's hammering away on those turrets. It leaves Fnatic 3-1 up in kills, almost a 2,000 gold lead, and 3-1 up in turrets as well. And I said it at the start of the game, Jarvan is Cyanide's signature stealing champion, and he's done it again.
Manages to grab the Dragon from under Alliance's nose, and even though Alliance had the item advantage in that fight, they weren't grouped up. They were split across the river, and they chased Fnatic into the jungle. So Cyanide did go down in the pit, of course, but with Froggen being overextended by the Wraith camp, it allowed him to get hooked by Yellowstar. And Fnatic were tight in net, and they were able to get their damage focused much more accurately. So Fnatic come away with the tower, 2 kills, losing 1, and the Dragon, and they've regained control of the gold. It is a small lead, but it is a lead nonetheless.
Now Yellow start waiting once again in that tri-bush, seeing if they can lure anyone in, using Reckless as the bait on that top side of the map, but it doesn't look like Alliance are going to be going for this one. I guess they figure inner turret's already down in the top lane, chances of Fnatic pushing that far up the map here, with outer turrets in the middle and top lane still available. It's probably not going to happen, but Reckless continues to push it out. Alliance now starting to move themselves somewhat around, but Yellow Star and Cyanide are lying in wait should anyone go there.
Yeah, notice the way Nif actually moved. He was going to go left into the top lane through that bush by the double golems and decided against it, realizing something was fishy. A lot of members of Fnatic had been off the map for a while, and he plays it safe. If you look at the river and the top half of the map, Fnatic have got 4 pink wards down in conjunction to a couple of green wards. So vision definitely in favor of Fnatic. And we need to see if they can keep playing those games. They pulled Alliance away from the mid lane, and we did see Wicked going to defend bottom as Soaz was shoving that one up. But so far, Fnatic have been the team making the moves, and it is still, I'm still waiting to see how Shook's going to get involved. He's had some Dragon calls, but we haven't seen him in team fights. We haven't seen him ganking because of how mobile and how proactive Fnatic have been playing.
It's going to have to come big for them. I mean, he's not had much presence whatsoever as Soaz here will be waiting. 3 men coming around. Spotted that one, I think, early enough here. However, we'll see if he can actually hold on to the turret. His barrels, of course, can clear out those waves quickly. And Peke also coming up there is the Mega Inferno Bomb to get rid of that wave completely. And Alliance will be forced to either wait for that next wave or, as seems to be the case, just back away. But Reckless is already pressuring the bottom lane.
And look how smart Reckless is. He's actually not going into range with his minigun where Wicked could jump on him. He's just using Fishbones, the rocket launcher, to poke from range. And if Yellowstar and Reckless do not get challenged, I do not think that Wicked can deal with that tower. So it looks like it's going to be a tower trade. 3 members of Alliance in the top lane. Reckless and Yellowstar have already got the bottom outer turret. Fnatic continue the push. Alliance need to back away because Reckless and Yellowstar are just going to keep pushing that inner turret. I mean, Reckless is melting this.
And why not? I mean, they've finally got Orianna coming over to try and stop that one from happening, and that will be enough. We see the missing ping in the mid lane, and that was enough to force Reckless and Yellowstar away from things. The shot once again is going to head towards his top lane, trying to get himself farmed up. Only 4 CS behind that of Cyanide right now. But Cyanide, you have to say, has done more for Fnatic across the map, including that great Dragon Steal early on. And Fnatic still sit about 2,000 gold in the lead in this matchup. Other farm, if you look, 259 for Froggen in the mid lane to the 262 of Peke. However, with the global gold, Peke still having a lead on that front.
Yeah, just minor leads for each of Fnatic's members at this stage. And Soaz is still playing catch-up. He is still a very large chunk of gold behind Wicked. And Wicked is one of the people that really goes out of his way to talk about how he feels Irelia in the mid to late game is actually better at teamfights than many top laners, but they're going to be fulfilling very different roles. Soaz is building tank, and he's going to be looking to disrupt Alliance. He needs to split them up so that Fnatic can focus down single targets and allow Reckless to pick up a kill and then get excited for the resets. Wicked, on the other hand, will be looking to combo with Shook to get to the backline and either pick off Peke or Reckless as quickly as possible. Another spell shield, black shield rather, blocking the hook. So Dragon's respawning. Now we have both teams actually poised for a maybe a legit team fight, you know, head to head. But Fnatic are the ones splits up this time around. So as his teleport, and he's dealing with the top lane.
Wicked already in position for this one. Cyanide just hanging around the wards, coming in from the backside of the pit as well. So see if Peke can actually get around. For now, he's just going to spam over the top of the wall, try and keep Alliance zoned away from him whilst dealing a bit of damage as he goes through as well. Soaz, in the meantime, still pushing out this top lane. Alliance have flanked around somewhat towards mid, not going to push it any further than the minions. And look at this, Fnatic have gone all the way into that bottom lane, so some positional trade-offs here coming out.
Very strategic game. Neither team wants to commit to Dragon and then force themselves into the potential of an AoE burst damage. Orion at Riven can do a lot of damage in a small space, and you can see that Alliance try push mid, Fnatic try push bottom. Soaz is now the man that's in lane, and he may have caught Alliance out.
Oh, coming from the back. He's actually all alone here, though, which could be a problem for him going forward. We'll try and move away on the top side. Meanwhile, Wicked has TP'd in, but he's all alone there. Almost taken down as soon as he drops in from the teleport. And Alliance have been forced to back away from this one completely. Not good news. Fnatic turn back around for Dragon.
Super Mega Death Rocket is still available. If anyone from Alliance takes more damage, Reckless will look to assassinate. They caught Peke!
Oh, they got Peke with a bandit. He's dead. Chuck will actually get that kill. well, and now they turn towards Yellowstar, will fall as well. Wicked gets that kill, and they can go straight to Dragon. Soaz or Cyanide will have to steal this one. Alliance, are they going to keep up with it? It does look like they will. Barrels will be rolling in. Surely Shook can hold on to this one. He lost the last one. There goes Cyanide once again. This time, though, it's taken by Alliance, and Fnatic have to flash out.
Just like that, Alliance bring themselves back into their game. Soaz initiated the fight too quickly. No one else from Fnatic was close enough to get to that mid lane. So when Soaz threw out the explosive cask, Fnatic was still playing catch-up, had to dodge the Dark Binding, and of course, Wicked teleporting into the middle of the team. That forces Fnatic to not work on 100% the same page. So this time around, Alliance are the ones that are clumped up tighter together. Fnatic are the ones that are split up and engage different targets at different times. So they end up losing the Dragon, and all of a sudden, Fnatic regain the 1,000 gold lead. This is exactly the game I was hoping to see when we've seen this on the schedule. It's fantastic so far.
If only it ends in a base race, I think all of our wishes, at least for one of these teams, will be complete.
Yes,
We've seen it before from them in week 4, and I think the outcome, especially on Fnatic's side, may just hinder any decision to go for anything like that again. Of course, that's all ifs and buts, and probably not that likely either way. We're 25 minutes in, we're tied on kills. It's 4-2 in turrets for Fnatic, but Alliance hold the gold lead. Although, to be fair, for a 25-minute game, it's not a massive goal.
So one of the things I want to highlight about that previous fight, Nif lands a great Dark Binding onto Peke. Peke actually may have been able to flash it if he wanted to, regardless. And because of the mobility of Riven, with her Valor the E, as well as the Broken Wings the Q, Shook was able to get on top of Peke and stun him up very, very quickly, which allowed Alliance to get all of their damage down and sort of gain control of that area of the map. So the key is still for Alliance just how quickly they can collapse on a target. And when they land that CC, it is very, very punishing. So Alliance will once again be looking to try to create those opportunities. They've got more wards in the river, but still not deep vision, still not deep wards, and they've not been in Fnatic's jungle really at all this game. Fnatic have been the ones that have been invading Alliance and playing, I would dare say, much more aggressive.
And I think that last fight there, giving that Brutalizer and Hex Drinker over to Shook is a much-needed boost for him. We saw before that not particularly high amounts of damage is now a little bit tankier as well, so we'll see how he goes forward in that. We have now hit the 300 CS mark for the mid laners, 324 for Peke, 320 for Frog, and just showing you these guys, 26 minutes in, absolute farming machines. For the AD carries, a couple more items coming out there as well. It was an Infinity Edge start for Reckless, that's now been a static Shiv added in along with a Vamp Scepter. On the other side, Trinity Force start for Tabs, now has a Blade of the Ruin King as well.
So as we're getting to the later stages of the game, I think it's fair to point out Baron control in, once again, history. 4 Barons in 3 games, 3 of them have gone to Alliance. So Alliance make better Baron calls against Fnatic than Fnatic do. Highlight that fact because if Alliance can force Fnatic to come to them, and if Alliance can turn and peel from the Baron to engage Fnatic quickly, that could be a way for them to force Fnatic's hand. The fear of a Gragas barrel into Cataclysm while sieging has to be prevalent for Alliance's mind. So if they are going to group up near a tower, they really have to have good jungle vision to avoid and prevent Cyanide or Soaz catching them off guard from a flank.
Like now, you mean? Possibly here as the wards go down and Alliance move over towards that inner turret in the bottom lane. They're just waiting for another minion wave to come in, but there are 5 men there from Fnatic, from Alliance. Fnatic don't have all 5 with them. There is a hook, it's landed onto Tabs. Will there be a follow through? The bomb comes out, the barrel will knock them away.
Yeah, not a great barrel there from Soaz. Came a second or 2 late. Had that knocked somebody backwards, yes, they could have worked. What that does mean, Alliance has a window of opportunity. There's no Mega Inferno Bomb, there's no Explosive Cask. So now they can siege with relative safety, knowing that those very big AoE spells are at least not available, and it looks to be the case. Going to be using Hogwarts Bioarcane Barrage to poke on the tower. As Deficio pointed out earlier today, if you get that Trinity Force proc damage, it works in your favor. But look at the movement from Alliance. Confident, control, thanks to the vision they've afforded themselves.
Actually landing the binding now to Soaz as well. Wicked off to the side. Yeah, Fnatic looking to defend this outer turret in the middle lane, and Rightly so, Alliance had started to push there. Wicked will actually keep this split push effort going on, but Alliance seem to be recalling with a couple of men, so this for now will be more of a diversionary tactic, although they've cancelled that. Wicked actually is going to be chased down. He does have a Banshee's Veil though, so Yellow Star knowing the hook's not even worth throwing his way. Now they start to push towards the turret, and an instant ultimate comes out from Peke.
Okay, so two things. Yellow Star had flashed for Wicked. I believe the Flay was going to connect, and Wicked has burned his flash himself. So, support flash for top lane flash, I think that's a fair trade. The other thing to note is with the cooldown reduction that Peke has, that's actually 2 Mega Inferno Bombs used defensively to prevent the siege and prevent the tower damage that Alliance have been trying to put down. But all of a sudden, Alliance are playing with much more confidence. They are the ones dictating the tempo, they are the ones moving around the map. And Wicked, I think, is going to try and play the split push game as long as he can. Because if he continues to get more items, it's going to be very, very difficult to deal with him in this mid to late game.
So, Blue Wolf coming in once again for Froggen. He's now got the workings of that Zhonya's Hourglass on top of his Rabadons and the Athenes. We've also got just over 10 seconds until the next dragon of the game comes down. Let's not forget the Alliance have had all of them except the one which Fnatic stole away earlier.
So Fnatic are losing control of their jungle. Alliance have once again invaded. They put some more vision down to ensure smarter dives if they want to chase past the dragon. But look at the play. Fnatic have grouped in the mid lane. Alliance are still on the dragon, so they've split themselves up. Soaz is coming into that mid lane as well. This is going to be a dragon for an inner turret trade. We do see Reckless should take this out with a couple more autos.
Yeah, easy takedown there, and that will be the trade-up that Fnatic were looking for. They did use the teleport from Soaz to get in there. And look at this, Alliance are trying to flank around the side. It looks like they want the fight.
It's going to come down to whoever gets caught out. A good Dark Binding or Death Sentence might be the death of one of these teams. Soaz does have Explosive Cask available, but he's split off from the rest of the team. Needs to be very, very careful. If Alliance decide to use that dissonance and use the move speed aura, they could jump onto onto Fnatic very, very quickly.
Where are you going to go here? Alliance have actually said we're going straight down middle. Look at Fnatic here. Reckless has walked towards the top lane. Peke's recalling. This should be the inner turret in that mid lane, which means that the turret advantage, if you want to call it that, the Fnatic got whilst Alliance are doing Dragon has been completely knocked out of it. Alliance got the Dragon and now get that inner turret as well.
Monumental errors from Fnatic. The way they had set themselves up, they needed to team fight to get presence or to pull Alliance towards them. Alliance, however, with very, very smart play. Understanding the position that Fnatic was in and realizing if they stayed grouped up, they could potentially go for, you know, those towers or team fight. Now, remember, Barons have been in favor of Alliance in previous weeks. They've started performance going down relatively quickly, but all of Alliance are here, most of Alliance rather. This could be a steal potential. There's no Shook, there's no Shook, there's no Smite. I think Fnatic have got it.
Oriana's not there either. The Baron is going low, and there it is going over to Fnatic. We saw Reckless getting low from it from the start, but they did it quick enough. Look at Alliance, they're actually moving down towards this mid lane, but I think Fnatic can swoop around and get towards that inhib turret fast enough.
You can debate for days whether or not that is a mistake from Alliance backing away or whether that is a great play from Fnatic punishing Baron. And moments ago, you can also debate mistake from Fnatic or great play from Alliance. Maybe it's a combo of both. But Fnatic then reading the situation, understanding Alliance were going to back away, they did, and they steal Baron. That's pretty good damage on Soaz.
That's very good.
It should guarantee the tower.
Yeah, there is that Mega Inferno bomb to use, but I think they're just going to tank this one up. Wicked will take the hits of that one with his Banshee's Veil in there as well now. There's no real problem for them. Alliance get their 5th turret of the game. We're tied on that front, and there's only 1,000 gold that separates these two teams. I'm interested now what Fnatic do, whether they try to push an advantage with that Baron buff on.
I think they should. They've got such great siege, and they've got such great poke. With both Ziggs and Gragas, even though Gragas doesn't have the highest amount of ability power, the barrels just laying in the lane give you pressure, give you presence, and people have to dodge it. Fnatic have been trying to push the lanes out. Every chance we've seen, Soaz has been the one that's really trying to shove those side lanes, and now you can see it's actually Peke in bottom, Reckless was top. So for Fnatic, they've got the statistical bonus thanks to Baron, but they need to be very, very careful, because if they engage in an area that Alliance can collapse on them quickly, it can turn sour very quick, because both Aurelia and Riven can get out of Cataclysm. And if they do get knocked away, they're super quick. So the theory of, or the threat of closing that gap is still very high.
There's a ping here towards the bottom lane. Fnatic have actually started to close on it, although their main turret killer, Reckless, is not actually there. He's just coming up through their bottom side of the jungle. Fnatic here can't afford to take Alliance on head-to-head. They've seen that Wicked's up top. He's actually recalling now as well. And I think that Alliance may be forced to give this one up. Yep, they are. Fnatic move in there. Alliance say, let it go. We'll defend from the base.
Yeah, Alliance don't really want to fight the team with Baron, especially in the lane. If you have somebody either in the jungle or in that lane, you can use the box and you can use the Cataclysm super effectively.
Got that difference as well. Overtime with gold. Shows you that it's swung a couple of times here between the 16 and 24 minute mark. Fnatic been able to pull ahead there, but that has swung somewhat now, and we see that the gold is bang level.
6 towers to 5, 3 kills to 3, completely even gold, and it really shows you the strategic level of both Fnatic and Alliance. Especially the last 5 or 6 minutes when they traded towers and Baron due to punishing your opponent's positional mistakes. You know, Alliance punished Fnatic, got towers. Fnatic punished Alliance, got Baron. And Fnatic used Baron to get another tower. They're running out of that Baron buff. It's about a minute left. And we haven't actually seen a big team fight from either of these teams. Whether or not that's due to nervousness or playing tentatively because of the importance of this game, or whether it just the opportunity hasn't presented itself. This game could be over with one convincing team fight.
Yeah, and I think more of this is a big game, guys. If you have to use a flash, you better damn well use it. You don't want to die. We saw in the early stages, the first 10 minutes, flashes were going off left, right, and center as players were avoiding basically yellow star for a lot of that one. We also saw Peke not hesitating to just flash straight away in the mid lane when he was a little bit caught out. Let's see if he can actually get in. They've moved past that halfway point. There's a ward there in the lane as well. So he can come straight in from this one. Tabs now is going to be joining in, so they'll see that Tabs is there with him. I think that's the time gone for them, though.
They missed their opportunity entirely. Tabs was not there and Fnatic hesitated. Now it's Fnatic that are split up. Look at Reckless. He's way down the lane. And Fnatic are trying to play catch-up. They need to reposition. Alliance are the ones that were tight in it. Cyanide needed to have gone. He needed to have jumped earlier to take advantage of Tabs not being there. But it doesn't happen, and we continue to reset. Dragon up in 10 seconds. Fnatic got the previous, Alliance got the previous one. So we'll see who's going to get their hands. It's now Alliance looking to do the same for Prey. Here they come!
Coming around the back of this one, binding, not connecting. That may mean that they get away. As Yellow's not going to stop forward. He actually misses the hook there. Soaz is off on his own on this left-hand side. Needs to be careful. But you can see how tense this battle is. Both teams just set up 5 versus 5 across that middle lane. It looks like Alliance have done enough to get themselves a dragon, but they may end up losing some of their base here if they're not careful. Fnatic actually have stepped back, and it looks like Fnatic is going to not get anything from the base and lose out on dragon as well.
So the threat of going for the inhibitor turret for Fnatic was a guaranteed team fight from behind. If Fnatic were the ones to push up that middle lane, it would have allowed Alliance to come in from behind, chase them to the top lane potentially. I can only think that Fnatic were hesitant out of fear of the impending team fight. So regardless, it was Alliance to pick up their 4th dragon of the game. Just before that started, we've been keeping tabs on buff control, and barring the strong start from Fnatic earlier, they've secured 14 red or blue buffs this game to Alliance's 11. So it is an advantage to Fnatic, but it's far and away not as impressive as it was going to imply at the beginning of the match.
Let's have a look down items with that as well. After that last dragon, we've got 1 minute 20 seconds for the next Baron to come up there. Both mid laners have now added in those Void Staff. There's also the workings of the Zhonya's coming up there for Peke as well, so pretty much identical when it comes to builds on that front. If you look at the AD carries, slight difference as Reckless has gone in and picked up himself the Blade of the Ruin King now and another BF sword. Tab's feeling like he needed a bit more safety and picked up a Banshee's Veil.
So it's a different style once again. If Reckless is permitted time to auto-attack, he should in theory do more work than Tabs thanks to having a few extra items, a few more damage. But on the same token, if Reckless is out of position at all, he should also get blown up. Having no defensive items at the 40-minute mark is a greedy and, dare I say, reckless style of playing. Wow. But again, he's banking on the fact that the rest of his team will protect him. Assuming the rest of the team does their job, he should have the protection he needs. Whereas for Tabs, it's all about dodging a hook or an explosive cast. So Fnatic have to do extra work now. Pop those Banshee's Veils like they've just done, and now there's the opportunity to engage. And it looks like Alliance thinking about it.
Oh, Cyanide was trying to catch up Shook.
Oh,
There's
they
the
got
hook,
it.
it does manage to land. Are they going to go on this one? Ulti comes through and Shook is down to less than half HP, but Alliance will walk away. Wicked actually over on the side. The barrel will roll in. Where's the ulti out? And so as it will knock Wicked into the rest of the team. He flashes straight out of there. And while the zap lands, they've actually pushed away from it. Tab's going aggressive there as well. Got Cyanide down to half, and again we see a half trade from both of these teams.
Nobody has been caught severely enough to get killed. And because of the fact that both teams have been playing very, very defensively, we have still yet to see an extensive team fight. Fnatic now were the ones starting. Cyanide played super aggressively, held onto his Cataclysm for the longest of times, but they did get the flash out of Wicked. So once again, small summoner spell advantage to Fnatic. Baron is a threat, it has respawned, but Fnatic are backing away, and this is going to come down to one strong team fight, Joe. And I feel one mistake from a player could cost their team a game because of how powerful both of these squads are at taking towers. Orianna, Cosmore, Riven, Arena, they'll melt through towers. And fairly similarly, you know, Ziggs, Jinx, Jarvan, Gragas, if they get up to towers, they can get through them very quickly. And neither team's looking for a team fight. And it's all safety.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this game has gone, because they've been so pensive and careful about how they're playing, you think that if they do get a good team fight off, that's when they're going to try and seize the little advantage of that, or big advantage of that, depending on how it really goes, and try and win the game. We see here, Wicked's going to try and flank around the back of Xpeke. They know that Soaz isn't there. Wicked actually getting turned back around on. He may have done enough damage to Peke here. He forced the flash. Will Alliance think about going Baron?
There's no teleport from Soaz yet, and Mega Inferno Bomb is still a threat. So even if Alliance go, oh, they caught Wicked.
Caught Wicked,
not
they won't
enough to go
follow
in.
through.
If Alliance go for Baron, there's going to be the threat of the Mega Inferno Bomb. Peke rather, has not recalled. He has still not backed away from the mid lane. Soaz has moved his way up. So the AoE threat is still there. And this should be Cyanide's time to shine. If he can get multiple members in the Baron pit with Cataclysm, that could be the way for Fnatic to get a lot of damage. But look, Alliance still safe. Pensive, Peke on a 3rd HP, and Soaz is the one that split up on the team.
Pincer move from Fnatic. I feel that'd be a risky one considering how this game has gone so far. We see them just pulling up that mid lane a little, try and maybe force Alliance to come back and show themselves. As Wicked actually going to dive in, but he's onto Cyanide. Not really the target that they'll be able to blow up as a hook comes out from Yellow Star as well. Peke knows here that he's dangerously low, but if he goes back, it means a rush Baron for Alliance.
Yeah, it really does. The moment his presence is missed, you feel like Alliance are going to go for an objective. It looks like they've started this one off. We do see Fnatic, they're still in the mid lane. They can respond fairly quickly, and if Cosmore is given a little more time, this Baron's going to get taken. Fnatic have lost it. By the time they get there, it should be Alliance's.
Got no vision, and there he goes, down to Alliance, and Fnatic come in and realize we've lost that Baron. Will that now give Alliance the confidence that they need to try and push more in this game? We see the bottom lane is actually pushing in Fnatic's favor all the way up to these steps of that inhibitor turret, which up until now not really having too much of a threat against it. Wicked has simply just walked up there and will be able to clear things out. So first Baron went to Fnatic, second one here to Alliance. They now hold a 2,000 gold lead. Not much of a gold lead 42 minutes into it, but does it give them the confidence, I think, is the real key part here in this matchup. A match which has been so... You see how both of these teams are scared, I think we can put it bluntly, to make plays and make bad plays more than anything else.
I actually agree with you, and I think the indecisiveness in that mid lane with Peke being low, this is a teleport now from Wicked. He's coming all the way from base. Alliance are just straight up trying to siege, but they've got a lot of wave clear to deal with. You know, Gragas and Ziggs are going to do a massive amount of work at defending this tower, and Reckless got himself a Bloodthirster now. So a lot of sustain. With the Bloodthirster, it's now higher in 4.12 and the Blade of the Ruined King. So I really want to see how Alliance try to make this one work. A Dark Binding on a Squishy might mean a tower dive, but look at the range from Tabs. He's dropping that tower.
Almost down to half HP. We see the wave clear of Fnatic not getting rid of that full wave there, and that's a bit of a scary sign for them, because if they're to hold on to these towers, they need to get those waves out of there straight away, because I'm not sure how long Alliance are willing to be tanking up these turrets. And up until now, you have to say that it's a matter of time here before Alliance break through this one. We see those bindings coming out. Those barrels need to be on the minion wave. The Tab's actually going to get knocked around a little bit there. It allowed Reckless to get in, get a free auto attack off, and that gives Fnatic a brief respite until the next wave comes.
And notice how defensive Alliance were. The moment that Banshee's Veil, oh, they've got Nip. Star decides not to go in, but the moment that Banshee's Veil was popped, all of Alliance backed away. They did not want either Cyanide or Soaz to get an engage on the Alliance squad, but they're chipping it away down to, you know, less than a third of hit points basically, and Tabs is getting as many auto attacks as he can. That's going to be a tower down in this next wave, I feel.
That it makes him so hard to lock up, even if you do throw everything out. And there's a hook onto Wicked, no follow through. I think the tower is going to go down with this wave. Cyanide tries to get in there. There's the Mega Inferno bomb. It only does a bit of damage to Tabs at the back. And Alliance have managed to break through the defensive line and will take the first in him.
Indecisiveness from Fnatic. It's Wicked that's looking to start the fight. Fnatic are too afraid to pick a fight with Alliance while Alliance have Baron buff. So Fnatic do not engage. They lose an inhibitor, and now they're going to lose a top inner turret as well. There are 2 siege minions here. If Alliance want to continue sieging up Fnatic's base, they've got a massive amount of minions to work with.
In onto this one, can they hold it in? Tab's actually taking a lot of damage there, got the instant shield out of Frog, and the minion waves cleared off quickly. That's a lot of damage towards Wicked. Once these Banshee's Veils go down, we see that Peke trying to really capitalize on that, spamming as much as he can in the direction of that person whose Banshees was popped off, but a lot of protection as well with the Black Shield. You see Tab's already not too afraid to step forward and hit that turret because he knows with the Black Shield he's going to be saved, and especially now that his Banshee's Veil comes up as well.
Also, if you see Gragas, Jarvan and Thresh throwing themselves at Tabs, it opens Fnatic up to get caught by Froggen, by Shook, by the AoE. So there's always that benefit, that safety net of if Fnatic clump up, you're going to be hit by the combo of Alliance. So Fnatic are now having to deal with super minions in this middle lane. Alliance are going to grab their 5th dragon of the game out of 6, and they're in complete control of the map. With super minions in the middle, and with Baron just wearing off, it's now all up to Fnatic to find a pick and pull themselves back in the game.
Baron buff gone though. I think that might be the key part in this one. I think that might allow Fnatic to start pushing a little bit further out of their base. However, now look at the items coming in. Froggen has got himself a Guardian Angel. There's one for Shook as well. And that will make Alliance a little more confident, I feel, with starting off these exchanges.
Yeah, I completely agree. I actually feel like Fnatic have been a little hesitant to look for engages, because I do feel there is a lot of power in their comp with Jarvan, with Gragas, with Thresh. But the safe style of play means all of the work they did in the early game to keep Shook down and to make his life difficult has somewhat been counterbalanced. Shook is now even on CS with all the objectives and the items he's built up. He is very, very tanky. He will come back to life and, you know, ruin your day with a lot of damage and a lot of mobility. So for Fnatic, it's going to need to be punishing Alliance's positional play. If Alliance are in a spot where Fnatic can jump on them, I feel like that's where Fnatic will close the gap. But for the time being, Alliance have not made those mistakes. Not really. Once on a recall, and they lost a Baron. That's the biggest mistake I think they have made.
It's not the kind of mistake that you tend to make twice in a row either. When that kind of thing happens, as a scan comes down, Fnatic set up as a 5. Haven't currently been spotted, however that will happen if they continue on that route. There was a ward just a little further up. Alliance are actually pushing down this top lane once again. Fnatic setting up the trap here off to the side. They have been spotted now. Where's the damage going to come from? Who are they going to go for? In the end, they can't really connect onto anyone. Peke just trying to spam his way through there. The Guardian Angels successfully popped here as Shook does start to step forward. We see the ball on top of his head, and a good shockwave here from Froggen could really get things started.
So there's 2 things to take note of. Nef has got those home guard boots, captain boots built. So if he's behind the team, it allows Alliance to peel away and retreat quicker if he's running away with the Moby boots. On the same token, if he's sitting in front trying to do a flash soul shackles engage, that will allow the rest of his team to collapse and close much quicker. We finally see Reckless picking up a defensive item. This is the second point. With some MR, he may not get instantly burst by Froggen and with the shockwave. But again, he needs to be super, super careful of his positioning, and he can't afford to get caught by multiple champions of Alliance.
Super minions is streaming in there as well, and that's dangerous for Fnatic. Luckily for them, the inhibitor has respawned, so that pressure will slowly but surely start to dwindle away. However, it's going to be about Baron once again here, up in less than 10 seconds. Alliance have already moved back. Fnatic here have to decide, do they go for it? They've got a big minion wave pushing down the bottom, but I think they're going to try and challenge on Baron.
Oh, this is so scary. Alliance are looking to find picks, and we'll see if they can catch Cyanide. Cyanide's in trouble.
Cyanide does get locked up here. Dark Binding comes down. There he will take the Lantern away to safety. Well, can he actually finish through? Actually, with his Flag and Dragon, he's going to put Cataclysm down. That will actually get him away from this one. Fell super low, but ultimate down, flash down. That takes a lot of his steal potential away as well, and Alliance now going to go in towards it. The Hog does land from Yellow Star. Cyanide needs to heal, and he needs to come back as quickly as possible because Alliance have started the Baron.
There's no explosive cask available from Soaz either. It's once again going to be all on Reckless to get the damage down, but if they get on him, he will die. Soaz, considering going for the steal, I don't think it's going to work with that barrel roll. And Alliance, they do grab the second Baron of the game. It actually wasn't even the smite from Shook.
That was close,
that took that one.
That was really risky, actually. The barrel coming in. You can actually see here Fnatic pushing up the mid lane somewhat. The hook once again does come through, but Alliance with that Baron buff on, we saw how scary it was earlier on for Fnatic whilst Alliance were Baroned up. This time, however, they seem to be moving out somewhat. Going to take away that blue buff. You pointed out rightly that the tower in that bottom lane did it actually fall?
It did go down. The minions got it.
Yeah.
So the thing about this now is actually with minions taking the bottom tower, believe it or not, in map presence, Fnatic find themselves in a situation where they're fairly even with Alliance. They've both got exposed inhibitors. The difference is Fnatic have still continued to show they're not comfortable team fights and they don't want to team fight. And Alliance have got their second Baron of the game. Alliance sieged up incredibly effectively when they had the previous Baron. And if you contrast that to the very first Baron that Fnatic secured, Fnatic got an inner tower which they snuck. Yep. They didn't siege, they didn't play aggressive enough at all. It feels like all of Fnatic's aggression was focused in the early stages of the game. And as we've progressed through the game and traded blow for blow, the safety and the importance of the game really may be weighing down on some of their decisions.
Just want to go back to week 4 and that ill-fated, at least on Fnatic's side, base race. They were pushing the bottom lane out as Alliance went straight down the middle. There are the two lanes again this time around that have open inhibitors. However, it's Alliance with that Baron buff, with, you have to say, the confidence at this stage. You see them now just sauntering on in towards this mid lane. There's the hook. He goes onto a Banshee's Veil, though, and that means that Shook won't be hooked in, and that this inhibitor can be focused down. That means super minions coming in. There is the hook onto Shook, but no follow-through. He's got a GA as well, don't forget.
With the Black Shield as well as Command Protect, there's 800 or 900 hit points worth of shield to burn through. You add the armor and ammo onto that shield, it's actually very difficult to burst single targets down. Fnatic need to get the right target focused. Super Minions now going to pour through the middle lane. Alliance continue to siege. They are definitely playing more effectively with the Baron buff than Fnatic did. And again, Fnatic need to find a way to engage. They need to get onto Alliance in order to defend the rest of their base, and we'll see how long they can hold off here.
Not minion waves, not lasting necessarily too long now. Soaz does take a big hit, but we saw Tabs already stepping forward as he did before in that mid lane to get a good few auto attacks off onto the turret. There's the hook, he actually misses. Cyanide going in, there's the Cataclysm, they're looking for Tabs. He will flash away, and Cyanide is going to go down. Tabs picks up that kill. There's another hook, this time on towards Frogger. Have they got the damage? He's not got his GA pod. Summoner heal actually helping him out. He's tanking up the turret though here. Needs to get away, or the turret goes down. That'll be even better for them. 2 men down for Fnatic. This could be the game for Alliance.
Alliance have got the numbers advantage. They've just got to deal with Peke. He's still got a lot of wave clear, but there are super minions coming through the middle lane. They may have caught Peke out. The rest of Alliance not going to jump on him just yet.
Peke and Reckless have to be men here. They have to really go for this fight. Shook, you can see already shielded up. Yellow Star does get Nip hooked into this one. Reckless staying away on the backside. Peke is actually behind them, and he's going to get the GA out of Froggen. He uses his Sonias, but going to go down straight away after it. Some good damage towards Shook, but his Guardian Angel wasn't taken down, and now 2 men left to hold on to this one. Still 20 seconds until Cyanide comes in. Alliance are just going to steam through this one. Hook lands on towards Shook, but the Nexus turret's going down. The Nexus itself will fall, and Alliance win the game, stop Fnatic's win record, and secure that spot at the top of the league.
undisputed first place in the European LCS, 3-1 over Fnatic. They extend the lead at the top of the table and really just demonstrate great control that game. Patient, coordinated, they didn't panic. And I actually think that was an exquisite match to watch.
Really technical, tactical the whole way through. You know, 6-3 in kills really tells you a lot about that game, about how many times we saw both sides dancing around one another. And yes, we can say that some of those decisions may have cost objectives. We saw Alliance taking a Dragon, giving up an inner turret, but then we saw Fnatic backing away, losing an inner turret of their own in middle. Then we saw Alliance recalling from that and Fnatic rushing in for a Baron, but after that point, Alliance seemed to have nailed it down a little harder.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's not often that you see games have half the amount of kills as towers secured. Fnatic took 7 towers, Alliance took 10. It was really a very strategic game, and if you're a chess player, it's like an analogy where you lose a rook to take a bishop, trade a castle for a queen. It's those sorts of moves. In this match, it was inner turrets for Dragon, then it was Baron, like you said. And I really have to wonder, if Fnatic had played more aggressively and looked for team fights earlier in the game when they were a little more in control, how would that have gone? Because you've seen how much damage they put down.
Yeah.
A lot of Alliance's members got very, very low in that final fight. If that fight had happened 15 or 20 minutes earlier.
That one point in the mid lane where Cyanide was sat inside of the Wraith camp, where Tabs wasn't there, that could have been the moment for, you know, him to jump over the wall, start off a 5 versus 4. They were going to get people low, if not take them down, I think, before Tabs could really get involved in that one. Either way, kind of what we expected here from the top of the table clash. What it means, though, is that Alliance carry that head-to-head, which means a lot, possibly, especially here in Europe. We've seen season after season that tiebreakers have been a real thing, and it means that Alliance have that safety of, even if they now draw with Fnatic in terms of the lead itself, because of their head-to-head, they'll finish first no matter what.
17 wins, 6 losses for Alliance. On the other side of the coin, 15 wins, 8 losses for Fnatic. So there's a small buffer as well. Yeah. So in order for Fnatic to catch and take that first place seed, Alliance have to lose a lot of games and actually end 1 game behind Fnatic. What I really, really like about this matchup is just how both teams demonstrated a great understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of the respective comps. And that moment you were talking about, where Cyanide was looking to engage, we have to go back and look at the replay. Have to look, was Reckless close enough for a fight to break out? Was there enough vision? Did Fnatic know Tabs wasn't there? Maybe if they didn't have vision elsewhere in the jungle, it was just erring on the side of caution. But I think it was a phenomenal game, and all credit to Alliance. They go now 3-0. Yeah, because they won both the games last week. And they break Fnatic's winning record again.
Breaking the records. It seems like not many teams can get past 8 wins.
Nope.
8 wins seems to be the magic number, at least this year. We've seen Fnatic already twice get up to that kind of level and then only to falter. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not really the streaks that count. It's winning your majority of games. That's what's going to put you, obviously, towards the top of the table. You win more than you lose. It makes common sense. But it's all about form now going towards playoffs.
I'm so happy you said that, because in the preview show today, I was talking about this matchup, and I felt that these 2 teams are most likely going to be in the final at Gamescom. It feels like they're just another level above everybody else. And Alliance have proven 3 out of 4 times to be stronger than Fnatic this split. Instant decision-making for the base race. Prolonged. That was a 53-minute game that Alliance came out ahead. Fnatic need to change something up if they want to get their 4th LCS split title at Gamescom. Well, they've got to get there first, of course. But for the time being, Alliance have been a step ahead. I'll say 1 step ahead, not more than that.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look back to that game and it just shows how close these 2 teams are in terms of form right now. I have to say, though, I wonder where the teams are closest to them. I don't see really many teams being able to match a Fnatic or an Alliance that are on top of their game, which, of course,
I agree.
You would expect there will be come the playoffs times. But now, guys, it's time to go down to Shox, who's joined by both Froggen and Tabs.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, joined by Froggen and Tabs. First off, congratulations, still in first place, and firmly so with the Alliance after beating Fnatic. Guys, what did you make of picks and bans coming in for you guys? Tabs, maybe shine a light on that.
Going into picks and bans, we had a pretty clear idea what we wanted to do, and I think we actually outpicked them in this game. Our comp was actually very good against theirs, so we ended up having a pretty good draft.
Yeah, we predicted pretty much everything they were going to do, and they messed up in some of the picks and bans, which allowed us to have all the things we wanted.
You say you predicted everything they were going to do. Let's break down the game a little bit, because of course in the early game they had pretty good buff control of your buffs as well, which kind of messed a couple of things up. So how did you guys react to that?
With the way the game was played, it was pretty obvious to what was happening, and I think the only bad thing in our early game was Wicked dying to first blood top because we got the dragon, and we should have gotten really far ahead of that. But they responded pretty good, and they had 6 to hold the waves whenever we wanted to rotate and push down towers for towers. They always had 6 to hold it, which was really annoying, but I think we managed to get around it pretty well, and I think we managed to outplay them in team fights too.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, in teamfights, there were only 6 kills in the entire game, yet it was one of the most intense games I think I ever watched. Tabs, did you guys feel that as well, that it was so tight and that you had to play those map movements exact?
Yeah, every time we went for an objective, they would just push down mid and they would avoid us the whole time. And this ended up just being objective trading and trying to not get a really bad trade, like giving them an inhib for a dragon or something. So we need to be really careful about our positioning.
So, Froggen, what was the turning point then? Where did they make the tactical error and you guys succeeded?
They made the tactical error to never fight us. Like, at every single objective, we were there, and we managed to get every... Actually, we messed up once with letting them having a Baron for free, but except for that, they only smite stole one, and they never fought us for dragons. They only tried to trade objectives, and if you never try to fight and only try to trade objectives, you're eventually going to lose.
Yeah, exactly, because even with the Baron, they didn't want to team fight you guys, yet it was pretty hard for you guys to get into that base, obviously with the Zig. So what was the final push? You, of course, getting that final Baron. What was it that got you over the edge?
I think basically at the end, we are a few items up on them, and Gragas is incredibly useless with that item build he went. And Irelia can always stun people, even if they build Banshee's Veil or any other defensive item. It's really easy for her to get in and stun them, and that's really powerful together with the Riven and together with the Orianna, because you can always do ball delivery system. And I think that's the main point of pressure, while we have in Kog'Maw that never actually scales off in the game. So it's pretty even between the AD carries, and we just outscale them on other roles.
Yeah, great game from Kog'Maw as well for Tabs. And Tabs, I want to ask you, is the confidence that we saw from Alliance here in this game, is that a signal of the confidence that you guys have going into the rest of the season? Do you have that one-up versus Fnatic?
Oh yeah, definitely. We had a bit of a slump, you could say. Like, we lost a couple games, but we pulled back really well. Like, our practice lately has been really good, and we know what we have to do to win the games right now. So as long as we just execute it correctly, we could even not even drop a single game.
Froggen, what is your vision on it? First off, is Fnatic the one you think you'll be facing in the playoff final? How do you see the rest of the standings going? And if so, how will that match go?
Right now, we are the best 2 teams in Europe, so I would expect to be facing them in the finals, and it's a matter of who's actually going to prepare the best for the finals.
Well, if it's a best of 5 that's this exciting, we're in for a treat. Thank you very much, and congratulations on that first place spot for Alliance. Once more, we're going to top off our red and blue elixirs, but when we come back, SK Gaming will take on the Super Hot Crew. Don't go anywhere.
Nice. High five. All around, yes. Nice. Good job, team.
They come back in with a bandit, he's dead. Jug will actually get that kill, and now they turn towards Yellow Star, will fall as well. The Cataclysm are looking for Tab, he will flash away, and Cyanide is going to go down. Tab picks up that